Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Alex Holmes from Nano One Materials. Alex, congratulations on your deal with Rio Tinto. How about we start there?
Thanks. Thank you, Tracy, and pleasure to be here with you today. So we're really excited about our progress with Rio Tinto. Just as a reminder for viewers, Rio Tinto invested in Nano One in the middle of 2022 at about 270 a share. So they invested in us because they saw the need for technology to change in the way that LFP cathode active material is made. And so over the past couple of years, we've worked with them. They're now the largest, well, not quite the largest, but almost the largest lithium producer globally now. So some people don't realize that they bought Arcadium Lithium for about $5 billion earlier this year. And so with our relationship with them, this is about us developing a strategic supply chain to support our growth strategy. And our growth strategy is through licensing of our technology.
Well, we actually think it's much more brilliant than that, Alex, and that you've actually created a Western supply chain blueprint for LFP batteries. And I'm going to start by actually quoting you. You wrote, "We are adding value to our technology and license offering by pre-qualifying feedstock that is critical to the production of LFP." I would like you to go a little bit more in depth about how this model will basically help the production for LFP batteries in general. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I think, Rio Tinto is a world-class operator. I think that is clear. They have the plans to make over 200,000 tons of lithium carbonate by 2028. They're an existing producer. By us partnering up in this way and helping create this blueprint, as you called it, this is about us helping create those secure supply chains that are needed for North America to actually see a future in LFP. There's a significant pipeline of LFP battery plants in today. We're talking about 200 gigawatts in the 2030 pipeline. That's about 400,000 tons of LFP. Today, there's zero production of LFP in North America. So by us structuring this relationship with Rio Tinto and pre-qualifying their materials, we're helping our licensing partners cut about 12 months out of that process that would typically be required to pre-qualify materials. So it's very strategic. Some people may not recognize it as that. But again, this is about helping bring to our customer base a faster path to market with a more secure and resilient supply chain.
Okay, well, we think it's fantastic. And please confirm whether or not we have it right. We have that this alignment of upstream and downstream capabilities represents an emerging model for Western critical minerals strategy. Integrate the mine, the process, and the end-use technology into a single framework that ensures both resilience and scalability. Would you say that we have that right?
Yeah, I think that's a great perspective and way to frame it. We think that, and we've always thought this way, is that the supply chain, for it to come together, it's not going to be one company or one group trying to do it on its own. It has to be collaborative. And so to your point, us bringing this upstream with the refining end and us in the midstream, this is creating a very strategic value proposition for the companies that are downstream of us.
Speaking of exciting value propositions for your shareholders, the announcement earlier this week about your Sumitomo Metal Mining advanced collaboration on LFP commercialization also sounds very exciting. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, that's another great validation marker for what we're doing. We've been partnered with Sumitomo for just over 2 years now. They invested in us, and we struck a strategic collaboration in the fall of 2023. And the whole premise of that collaboration was to work together to advance our technology to a point where they can make a commercialization decision. Sumitomo recognized the need for technology differentiation to help the Japanese ecosystem grow, and that copying China was simply not an option. So on the back of the past 2 years of work, this has included product testing and sampling, sharing of customer specs, trials of our technology in Japan, multiple site visits. And they basically wanted to come forward and say, we see Nano One as a key technology partner for how we're going to grow our LFP business and in the nickel-rich business as well for cathode active materials. And so this is really important because the North American market is the single largest market for Japanese automotives. And as Japanese automotives build their supply chains in North America, in Japan, they want local domestic supply chains. They don't want to be importing raw materials, the cathode active materials, the cells. They want to do it all here. And so this is a really big strategic move for us. We're excited about the next steps and what's to come with Sumitomo. And I think it's important to point out that for us to get into the Japanese ecosystem as a non-Japanese company, that's not possible without having a Japanese partner. So Sumitomo has become our path to working much more closely with the automotives and the cell manufacturers that are, Japanese companies.
Well, of course, with the high-profile partnerships that you've announced and reinforced recently, you've also been working on your technology and your relationships. I noticed you were working with the Arkansas Lithium Technology Accelerator Program. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, well, we joined the Arkansas Lithium Technology Accelerator called ALTA a couple of months ago. And the reason for that is we were invited to participate in this accelerator because Arkansas has quite a significant endowment of lithium. And you have a few companies that are active in Arkansas today. So Standard Lithium has a couple of projects with some pretty significant joint development partners or joint venture partners. You have ExxonMobil and you have Chevron. Both those very large oil and gas companies are serious about lithium extraction. We were invited because we're seen as the North American solution to the midstream, to LFP cathode active material particularly. So over a series of a few weeks, Dan, myself, our business development person, participated in a series of meetings and discussions with investors, economic development groups, and government folks, really to try to help frame out what is the opportunity in Arkansas and how can Nano One, through our licensing strategy, participate in that opportunity. So I'd say we're really encouraged coming out of that. There's a lot of deep pockets in Arkansas. There's a will. It's a very attractive jurisdiction to work, very close to Texas and other regions of the US where we see the LFP supply chain coming together.
And speaking of your LFP supply chain coming together, you've upgraded your Candiac operations and you've had 5 new patents that you've announced this summer. Can you hit some of those highlights for us? Sure.
So Candiac has undergone already one expansion that we completed in 2024. We're undergoing a second expansion. I think it's really important to emphasize that what we're doing now with our technology in Candiac is we are making LFP in full commercial scale pieces of equipment. Okay, so we're not talking lab, we're not talking pilot, we're talking full commercial scale equipment that is representative of what future greenfield plants would be at many times the size of the Candiac facility. And then on the patent front, I think it's really important to, for us to continuously innovate. So we've got a relatively immature technology where we see a lot of room for improvement over time. And so by us continuing to add to our patent portfolio, we're obviously adding value to the company, but we're also bringing better ways, improved ways, product improvements, process improvements, all of these things to our future licensing partners. Because if we just stand still, the licensing partners might take a license for 20 years. We want to be able to continue to add value to the and be able to charge more and more as time goes on. So we consider this an important part of our value proposition.
And for those of you out there that are going, LFP batteries, I've heard about it, don't really understand it, or how Nano One Materials really fits into this formula, can you give us an overview?
Great question. So we have a process manufacturing technology for making cathode active materials for LFP batteries. So what we make is essentially a black powder where we're bringing together all of the critical minerals, so the lithium, the iron, the phosphate, to produce this black powder. That then goes on to the cell manufacturer, where they'll mix it in a slurry and they'll coat it on a very thin aluminum foil, and they'll combine it with the anode and the separator and the electrolyte, and then build a cell. So why LFP is important right now is today it's 70, almost 80% of the market share in China. It's projected by 2035 to be over 50% of the market share globally. 98% of LFP is made in China today. and every single country is looking for diversification of their supply chain. What's changed in the last little while with LFP is there's been innovation on the pack design, which has made it a much more energy dense material at the pack level that then goes to its end use application. And then the other thing is that for defense applications, I mean, we all see that NATO is targeting 5% defense spending over the next several years. Canada is very front and center. The US is very serious about defense spending. There are more and more dollars going into defense applications, which means more and more batteries and more LFP. And the second part is energy storage systems. So BESS, as we call it, or ESS. Every single AI data center needs an energy storage system. They have to ensure 5 nines uptime. They need that battery there for support. You know, power goes down. That's not a good thing for those servers working overtime. So that is that's a national security issue. That is, as we're seeing, AI data centers are being built out everywhere in North America. Europe's the same thing. Every G7 country is trying to achieve, national security through having a technology edge. So that's a lot of energy storage systems. And actually, we see, and it's, the proof points are in how that ESS market are growing. If you look at the last few years of growth, 23 over 22 is an 80% growth in ESS. 24 over 23 was over 50%. 25 over 24 is projected to be over 50% as well. So EVs are doing their things. There's a bit of a slowdown there, but there's many other markets that are growing much faster. And so that's a really encouraging place for us because we're focused initially on defense and ESS.
Well, we couldn't agree with you more, Alex, here at Investor News. So what should shareholders be looking forward to in the next quarter?
Yeah, so we've had a great number of catalysts already this year. We're going to continue focusing on advancing our technology, moving the ball down the line to commercial outcomes. We are actively sampling with different contractors, or cell manufacturers, mainly in the defense space at this time, as well as energy storage. So I think over the next quarter and even the next 12 months, investors should be looking for some of those other catalysts to come into place that show sight lines to licensing, to development project opportunities where we're a technology partner in a joint venture with another party, as well as some of those direct sales we're targeting out of our Candiac facility. So I'm sort of taking over the next 12 months. These are our goals and our ambitions.
For those of you out there going, Nano One Materials, must find out more, please go to the following website. And Alex, thank you so much for your time and providing such an excellent update.
Thank you, Tracy.